Hey, it's the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central. This is Matthew Rocchio right next to me. I'm Randy Karraker, and we are thrilled to have you with us. We are at the Key STL on Olive, just across the street from the Olive Compton Garage. And we have Billikens basketball tonight. They're going to be taking on VCU over at Chaifetz Arena. That game starts at 6 o'clock, and we've got quite a show for you. Coming up, we're going to talk to our friend Chris May, the athletic director at St. Louis University. We're also going to talk to the awesome one, Earl Austin Jr. And then coming up at 3:40, it's Hammer Time, as Ryan Hammer, one of the preeminent college basketball podcasters, will join us. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, he calls himself a college hoops enthusiast, and then he tells you what podcast he's on. So we see where the emphasis is for Ryan. But yeah, he'll come here from 4 to about 4:15. We'll go a little bit later on today's show. But yeah, coming up, some great guests, Chris May and Earl Austin. So we'll get some of the technical side with Chris going, and then we'll pump up and look at the matchup with Earl Austin.
So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to you being a part of the show. As always, obviously, you can chat with us. We've got our computer set up so that you can be a part of the show as well. Talk a little Cardinal baseball to get things started. The Redbirds opening up spring training tomorrow. Actually, their spring training schedule, their Grapefruit League schedule, as they take on the Washington Nationals, and it'll be the presumptive opening day starter, Matthew Liberatore, going for the Cardinals, and he'll be followed by Quinn Matthews, who had a terrific spring last year and then ran into some back injuries and some shoulder issues, and he really didn't have the command once he got healthy like he had the year before when he struck out 202. And I really do think that this is going to be a big, obviously, year for Quinn Matthews, but it's also going to be a year where spring, where he has to reestablish his dominance. He was a dominant pitcher 2 years ago, and I think that's one of the things that the Cardinals are looking for, is for Quinn Matthews to be the guy that he was 2 years ago and escape the guy that he was in 2025, where he just walked too many. He was woefully inefficient, and his stuff wasn't what it had been the year before.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I want to see is Quinn Matthews. We kept, we'd kind of already fallen into what we were doing already in 2026, late in 2025. We're like, okay, let's just focus on what Quinn Matthews is doing. And every time you have a strikeout, we get a little happy. Every time you would eventually have a walk, which was happening way too much, we'd get a little sad. But I think, there's reasons to be positive about Quinn Matthews. Again, I don't expect him to dominate here in the spring and prove that he's got to be part of this rotation. There's too many bodies for him to climb over to get a rotation spot out of camp this right now, but injuries are going to happen. We don't know if certain injured players will ever actually come back and be effective. So things are going to happen. He's going to find his way up. I'm guessing around mid-June. We'll call it Flag Day. We'll do an old Mike Claiborne special.
There you go. That's June 14th. That's what we need. We need him to be great by Flag Day. And if he doesn't get up here by then, or by July 15th, or by August 15th, that means good things are happening with the Cardinal rotation. It's probably a good thing. The more, even though he's going to be 26 years old, the more that you can keep guys down in the minors, because pitchers and players are performing well at the major league level, the better that's going to be. Now, on Sunday, the Cardinals are going to pitch Kyle Leahy in their second spring training game. And back in my day, it used to be that you would bring a pitcher up and you could count on him throwing a couple of hundred innings. You didn't have this, well, he threw 120 last year, so he can only throw 130 this year. And he threw 130 last year, so he can throw 140 this year. No, you actually expected a pitcher to pitch back in the day. And what the Cardinals are going to try to do with Kyle Leahy is rebuild him into being a starting pitcher that can give a team 150. They're building him up to give him 150 innings. That's what they're looking for.
That was a completely unnecessary chuckle, but you just did it naturally. The concept that's what working a pitcher up to looks like these days. We get this from user Big Bark. This is actually insane, Randy. In his first at-bat for the Arizona Diamondbacks in spring training, Nolan Arenado goes yard.
Oh, really?
Touches them all in his first at bat with the Diamondbacks. He says, "No, seriously, that's awesome for him. That's insane."
And his Miles Michaelis, first hitter for Washington, he allowed a home run.
Seriously,
he did.
Get the hell out of here! That's insane.
So home runs abounding for the former Redbirds today as spring training gets underway.
Nancy Pat in the chat as well, saying greetings, TGIF. Of course, if you want to jump in here in the show in the chat, maybe even drop a question. We might be able to share one of our questions with one of our guests, as two of our three guests have arrived already. We'll get to Chris May on the show here shortly.
Yeah, and I think she's I think if I'm not mistaken, Nancy Pat was, when they got Arenado, was Arenado. We can call him Arenado again since he's not here anymore.
There we go, yeah.
But yeah, she's they feel like they've got something in the Valley of the Sun. They feel like he can regain the form that he had here. Obviously, a better ballpark to hit home runs in, and maybe he can get healthy. And I root for Nolan Arenado. I hope he does well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing is obviously, Libertor's the other half of tomorrow, not the other half, the first starter, inning of tomorrow. A lot of perception about Matthew Libertor. We talked about this, I think it was earlier this week, it might have been late last week, about the expectation. We had a chatter yesterday talking about him being a 2 or a 3. Mm-hmm. Anything you're actually looking for in spring, Matthew Libertor? Is he at the point where he's working on stuff and it's not real, nothing matters?
One of the things that excites me is that he's added a splitter to his repertoire.
Okay.
So now he's got 6 pitches, and he doesn't know when he's going to pull that out. But I'm intrigued by that. He's a guy with big hands, and if that becomes another weapon, especially against left-handed hitters, he can turn himself into a legit number 2. He's got everything you need already to be a legit number 2. For me, more innings, deeper into games, but I thought he did a good job of that last year. But what I'm looking for this spring from Libertor is, like you say, just work on things and build yourself up, because I kind of think I do think that he's going to be the Cardinals opening day starter, and my hope would be that he can give him 6 innings on opening day against Tampa.
Are you confident in that?
No, I don't think the Cardinals
will. Do you ever
go
confident into a Cardinals start expecting 6 innings?
Here's the thing. In baseball now, I would be really frustrated if I was a starting pitcher, because they don't trust a starting pitcher to go a third time through the order. And that's because most of them don't. So what baseball thinks is okay, because the majority of the time pitchers struggle or hitters succeed the third time through an order, they throw a blanket over everybody. And that means that, okay, since player X on the Padres has trouble a third time through the order, player Y, Max Scherzer, would have trouble going through the order a third time, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think you need to trust your pitchers at some point and give them the opportunity to earn that trust to go through an order a third time. I don't think under this administration that the Cardinals will allow a pitcher to earn that trust. I would think that they will, once a pitcher gets a second time through the order, regardless of how well he's performing, he's going to be Blake Snell in Game 6 of the 2020 World Series.
I was going to say, no matter everything you say, completely true. But I feel like if you said it to the Cardinals, they would take it just about as much as J.J. Weatherholt to center field.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. They aren't going to let guys go a third time through the order. And that's just and they believe that that's the right thing. They think, and I like these guys. I like Chaim Bloom. I like Rob Trifolio. I like everybody involved. But that doesn't mean they're right all the time. And they're playing the math game. And the math game has won for a lot of teams. But if you're playing the eye test game, then it's not fair for me if a guy like Matthew Libertor has an effective 6th pitch, okay? And the first time through the lineup, he hasn't even unveiled pitches 5 and 6. John Smoltz always talked about this, how he would hold back. He wouldn't let hitters see all of his repertoire the first couple of times through the lineup because he would face them a third time, and he wanted to give them a look that they had not seen the second and third time they came through the lineup. Now, Adam Wainwright had a completely different philosophy. Waino said, no, I'm going to use everything I got to get them out every time they're at the plate. But I like the Smoltz idea. If you have 5 or 6 pitches, why not try to get them out with really good stuff, 3 or 4 pitches the first couple of times through the lineup, and then the third time through the lineup, become a different pitcher. Change your repertoire and bring out the splitter, bring out the cutter, or if you have 2 different fastballs, bring out a different edition of your fastball, and that will make you more effective. Now, I guess the problem would be that the math people don't care about that, right? They don't care because all they are looking at is those numbers the first and second time through the lineup, and they don't trust you. They don't think that you can get through a lineup a third time. And that's just a problem I have with baseball. By the way, I wanted to, because you said I was derisive in talking about innings.
I didn't think you were being derisive. I thought you were being very honest.
So Danny Cox came up with the Cardinals at midseason in 1983 and threw 83 innings. In his second year, he made 27 starts and threw 156 innings. His third year, he made 35 starts and threw 241. And then his fourth year, He made 32 starts and threw 220 innings, and he threw 200 in his third full season as well. 1, 2, 3. No, that would be his fourth.
It's just
full
not going to
season.
happen.
I know it's not going to happen.
The world's changed.
Yeah, there's
I'm
no
sorry.
such thing as a horse anymore. It's too bad. And there's no such thing as a pitching pairing anymore either. You don't go out to see John Tudor against Dwight Gooden anymore. It just doesn't exist anymore. You don't even go out to see Chris Carpenter against Roy Halladay, which was 2011. That doesn't exist in 98% of the instances in Major League Baseball.
I was going to say, if you're a Detroit Tiger fan, you have a pretty good shot at it.
But still, they don't let guys go more than 6 innings.
That's true.
Unless they let Verlander do it.
Not a lot of pitching, not a lot of playoff games decided like St. Louis and Philadelphia was. Roy Halladay and Chris Carpenter, obviously. But one more thing.
Well, let me point out that because the Cardinals aren't going to get a lot of innings out of their starters, that means we get more of an opportunity to see who's potentially going to be in the bullpen.
And we've talked about pretty much every person on this roster in at least like one segment or another over the last couple months. But when it comes down to beginning of spring, things you're actually excited for here in the spring, things that you're actually going to watch for that, maybe don't make decisions for you, maybe don't sway your opinion, but things you're actually intrigued about watching here the rest of spring.
Okay. Actually, Quinn Matthews is one of those.
Got to be one of them.
But on an everyday basis, the position player that I'm most intrigued by this spring is not J.J. Weatherholt. It's Victor Scott II.
You love Victor Scott II.
I think that, and you know what? I was lukewarm until during this offseason, Ollie Marmol said, I think he's going to be our breakout guy. And I want to see if he's going to be the breakout guy. I'm going to set my expectations low for the rookie. Not low, but I don't have outrageous expectations for J.J. Weatherholt. And then the other thing I want to see is
healthy after what's happened the last few years.
Yep. The other, and it's the same as the last couple of years, and especially in talking about Gorman and Walker. But apparently, by all accounts, Walker had a great offseason. He's gotten into a consistent setup, a consistent stance, and a consistent swing. And there are people inside and outside the Cardinal organization that are really excited about what he's capable of being. And one of the things, Matthew, is they're going to let him be himself. They're actually going to let him swing the bat. And if the swing plane isn't exactly what they want it to be, they're going to say, you be you, and let's see how this develops and evolves over time. And they aren't going to make him go somewhere or to change his swing or do something that isn't something that he's comfortable with. So
you're telling me he spends all spring hitting it 100 miles per hour into the dirt again? They're not going to react to that.
Well, the problem is he's never done that. He hits line drives. Yeah. And the thing is, for example, his rookie year, he hits in his first 12. Then he goes, I think, 3 games without a hit. And then he hits in 4 out of 5, and they send him down.
Panic.
Yeah. There is nothing wrong with hitting the ball hard on the ground through for a base hit. It's not a bad thing to get on base and get a base hit. And then with as hard as he hits the ball, if he hits a line drive, it's either going to go to or through the wall because of his exit velocity. And I think the Cardinals now are going to say, okay, well, we trust you. You can become Matt Holliday. You can become Jack Clark, and we won't be upset about it.
Umami 1777 in the chat. Walker dropped some weight. I'm looking for him to steal some bags as well.
He's a great athlete.
Talking about it.
Yep, and I think he's down to 245. He was big tight end. He was Rob Gronkowski big at about 260, 265, and I think he's about 245 now. And he is a great athlete. And I would think that if the edict is given from Ollie, and I think it will be, hey, if you guys see the opportunity to run. I would think that he's a guy. He's, by all accounts, a pretty good base runner. I think he could steal some bases. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Yeah, I liked it there, again, focusing on athleticism. We talked yesterday about Lars Nootbaar. Again, a great article in STL today, kind of breaking down, exactly how much the just heft of injuries kind of just broke Lars Nootbaar down, ruined his athleticism, changed about what he could do as a player, and that question of if he can do it again. Cardinals are all about athleticism. If you're going to be a young team, heck, you're going to be a losing team, the one way to find a way to be a little fun is, to be a fun athletic, a fun team that tests their bounds of athleticism. I love that.
And I know that there are people, and this is what sports is. There are people that can't watch a team that doesn't have a great chance to win all the time, because what do you need in sports? You need bandwagon jumpers, right? You need people that are only there because the team has a great chance to win. However, I think with this team, if you watch the players on an individual basis, and I think everybody that's rational and that has watched ball can agree they have talent. So what you need to do is hope that that talent can ascend. And I think that that'll be something that, for me, will make this team worth watching. My hope is that Walker and Gorman ascend. I think that Mason Wynn and Newbar have a chance to bounce back after their injuries of last year. I just said Victor Scott II. I believe that Weatherholt is going to be good. I don't know that we've seen everything that Alec Burleson has to offer or not, and then the catching situation is going to be interesting, and it'll be really interesting if that catching situation includes Ivan Herrera. So for me, there is a lot of intrigue, and even if they don't win, I think watching players utilize their athleticism will be a positive.
Absolutely. Cardinals tomorrow, 12:05 first pitch. They face off against the Nationals, and I guess the schedule isn't going to bless them with Miles Michaelis. That's a bummer. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to see him get an early home run. Just get the guys loose a little bit.
Yeah, and how would you feel if? And I like Miles Michaelis; he's a friendly sort.
It's fun to make home run jokes,
but
though.
Yeah, how would you like it if he was your opening day starter?
I'd be pretty terrified.
I think we might have had that in St. Louis before.
He did start at least one opening day. I'm not 100% sure.
So that happens. So that's our Cardinal look here in the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central. St. Louis University taking on VCU tonight at Chaifetz Arena. And the athletic director of the Billikens, Chris May, is already in the building. We're going to bring Chris over and welcome him to the conversation. What a couple of years Chris May has had in bringing in coaches and getting this athletic department to where it is today, and especially because the hallmark, the front porch, is the men's basketball program, and they've had a magnificent year. And another, I believe, and Chris May can tell me if I'm wrong, another sellout tonight. Chris, first of all, thanks for stopping by. How you doing?
Absolutely. We're doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Chris, thanks for giving us some time.
Thank you. You got it.
So is this, so you've got another sellout tonight?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It's very rewarding when you go on a run and the community really rallies around your program and your team. And so it's, we're in a good space, obviously a huge ball game. And it's really been fun to see people engage. We had a great night up in Chicago on Friday. And as rewarding as anything was the Billiken fans that just took over that arena. And at one point I looked up and the whole upper deck of the arena was blue.
Wow.
And I didn't know it, but our marketing guy told me, "Hey boss, did you see that they cranked up their volume on our fans so that they could try and bury our fans with their volume?" And I was like, I didn't know that, but it was great to see. And that it was just St. Louis people, not just Billiken people. There were St. Louis people in Chicago showed up to follow this team. And so you can feel it happening. And so it's, Chaifetz Arena, when it's full like this, it'll be full again for Duquesne. We've got a few tickets yet to sell for Loyola, but it's clearly the match has been lit. And so we're working real hard to take advantage of it.
Do you think you'll have many people at the conference tournament?
We've sold more tickets than we had normal. We've got a lot of people going up to Pittsburgh, and it's an easy place to get to. It's a great town. You can get around it really well. So I think we'll have a good following up there, but we're locked in about what's going to happen at 6:01 p.m. in Chaifetz tonight.
Hey, I want to go back because when I talked to you when you hired Josh Schertz, and I know you were telling everybody this, you said, "Man, we got somebody who's really special here." If you could have projected the second year, would you have dreamed? Well, not dreams, not the word. Would you have projected something like this?
I could have dreamt it, but I wouldn't have predicted it. Okay. No, it's obviously a magical run. We were. We're talking, you get beat the other night, the perfect storm hit us. And then realization hits that the last time that happened was in November when something else similar happened. But Josh has exceeded all expectations. I knew he was super bright. I knew, you all spend time with him. It doesn't take long to figure out this is a really special basketball mind. Reminds you a lot of what Coach Majerus was in a different package, but the brain, when he starts talking ball and he starts regurgitating possession after possession, time and possession and score after a game,
it's amazing.
And he can take you all the way through the game. And so it's clear that he's one of those special talents in the game. And then what he does to connect with young people, his connection with those guys, that's rare. the way he connects, the way they connect with him. And so he's a special guy. He's been a great fit for us, and we're thrilled with where we are. But I'm equally thrilled with the ability now to really build something where we can sustain.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole key. We've been here once or twice. We had that big run in 13, 14, but now we have a shot to build something to sustain, and that's what's really exciting.
And that's one of the big things I want to ask you about. You have the experience of getting that 3-year run back in 12 through 14. What did you learn from that experience and capitalizing on it? What were the things that worked then, and what do you think are the things that you guys got to do now in a different kind of landscape to capitalize in a similar manner?
Yeah, I think we have the ability with this group to capture the community way better than we did back then.
Mm-hmm.
Josh has the ability. Josh is really good at it. And when your head coach, not that we didn't have that before, but we didn't have that before, to really that community piece is critically important. So now you open the door to a whole different market and a whole different brand. I also believe, though I grew up with slow the game down and run 4 corners and all that stuff, that doesn't sell. The way these guys play, it sells. People are excited. They love the way we get up and down, the way we spread the court, the way we go. And so that a big learn is how you package and what you do. But the other part of it is, how do you recruit in a sustainable way to be able to do it year in and year out? And especially in the day of the portal, it's no longer you recruit and it's a 4 and 5 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
You're recruiting every day, the same kids every day, to not only retain, but to be ready to go out. And so you might miss on somebody as a high school kid, but you might be in the game as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we're in the game way more than we could have been then, because of the changing landscape of college sports. That's what really encourages me.
You've been in college athletics for a long time, and I don't know that I've ever seen a team, even that's running like a 5-man rotation, where somebody isn't complaining about their minutes. And here you're running an 8-9-man rotation, Josh is, and we ask him about it, and you talk to people close to the program, you're right next to it every day. It really is remarkable that he can run a rotation like this, and nobody is complaining.
It's very special, and I think it has a lot to do with Robbie. Robbie sets the tone in that locker room. Robbie has done an unbelievable job since he came here, but especially this season. It's hard in year 1. Year 2, clearly his leadership and his selfless way to try and get the win on a daily basis is making a huge difference. It's very hard to play 9. He'd like to play 10 if he could. But it's hard to get that. It's hard to have everybody feel like they've got a piece of the action. And that's clearly what's happening. And right now, you got 4 or 5 guys that could come in and flat out light it up on any night. And that makes you feel good about it. As I was talking to Earl, if we can defend like we think we can defend on a nightly basis, our offense is going to take care of itself.
When was there a moment that you kind of maybe remark on to when people ask you about this season that you felt like, okay, this has the potential, this has a similar feeling to 2012, 2013 of like, okay, this is what a winning team looks like?
Yeah, there was 3 moments. One was after the second game. I even forget who the second game was. Josh and I are walking out of the media room after you drilled him for an hour and a half, and he answered all the questions
every time.
And we walked back to the locker room. It's really a time where we spend about 5 minutes. Hey, where are we? What do we need? And he told me then, he goes, this team has a chance to be special. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You heard a lot of coaches say that, but I'll never forget walking out of there. He said, this team could win a lot of games. I'm like, huh. Okay, so put that back in my small head, and then when we just got after Grand Canyon, Grand Canyon's talented. They got a lot into that team. There's a lot of reasons why, and that may not have been as close as the score indicated. I mean, we were flat out ready to go, and then there's 2 times in the league. One, you go up to VCU and you take care of business. This is a really talented team. We'll see here tonight. They are gifted. They're playing great. So that moment, but then when we that Richmond game, I'm like, okay, Richmond runs. That's not an easy scout. It's hard to be ready for that. And that game was over at halftime. And so then I'm like, okay, this flat out, we got a shot. And so it's been great to watch it evolve. We got a lot of ball to play, but you got a great group. What's special about it is they're a great group to be around. And I talk, Kevin Kalish had the same thing with the soccer team last fall. That group, They didn't care who got the points. They just kept going and grinding, and they kind of had that mentality. And this group has the same thing. And it's when you get that going, and we can try and build on that departmentally, and you got a bunch of teams with the same mentality that's how they operate. You got something good going.
Yeah. One thing as an athletic director, whether you hear it or not, you're going to hear it because if enough people are talking about it. And the elephant in the room is to sustain this thing, you've got to have the coach. So are you having any, you don't have to tell us details, but obviously you have to think about keeping Josh around, right?
No, I've never thought about it. Come on, Randy. Yeah, no kidding. I thought about it the first time we won. When you have a talent like that, you're always thinking about it, okay? And what we do, what I do, and Josh and I talk every day, our total focus is how we help this team win and how we get ourselves ready to sustain success next season. And so we have been on that. That has been a regular conversation and growing. And the bottom line is we're going to be as good as our community that helps us be good. And what's happening right now is our community has been off the charts, from fans showing up tonight to our donor base to our sponsor base. Across the board, that group has been really, really, really good. We had a dinner in Chicago last Thursday night. We took 35 donors up there. We had Katie Shields, Kevin Kalish, and Josh speak. Mm-hmm. And those three coaches, I shared with the group, I believe there's not another program in the country that have that combination of those three anywhere. I don't think there is. And so had a great night. And so now that this next step is following up with those people, we got a significant gift last night from that dinner Thursday.
Good.
Okay, nice.
And so you can see and feel that the community is fired up about that. And so that's where our focus is, because if we can build something totally sustainable, Josh, he's got to know that we can help him get it done. He knows that he can do it right now, but he's competitive like every other coach, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And so then when it gets down to sitting down with him, we'll do that when the season's over, and I feel great about where we are and what we can do. And he's one of the gifted guys. Yeah, trust me, I got all kinds of people texting me, all type of free advice. It's awesome. But you feel like we built a really good relationship, that it's about how do we put all our efforts into helping him win. So our efforts are all about 601 tonight, get through next week, huge 2 final games, go to Pittsburgh, take a big group, and then hopefully get ready for March Madness.
And the people that have had this job in the past, everybody talks about, even now, here we are in 2026, and this building is 13, 14 years old, right? Maybe even older.
2008.
Wow, that's incredible. But it's still one of the nicest facilities in the country.
It's fantastic. It's by far the best in our league, and it's one of the very best in the country. When between Chaifetz Arena, the O'Loughlin Family Champion Center, and facilities matter, mm-hmm. NIL rev share matters, and the coach matters. Mm-hmm. And all three of those things matter. And you got to have all three in position to do it and to do it well. And we feel like we're in position to do that as well as anybody.
You talked about the other programs doing great. You have women's soccer, men's soccer. I mean, teams are killing it all over the SLU athletic program. But we see elsewhere certain financial releases come out, and you see what the kind of payroll and what the revenue is for a lot of sports around, and for the non-basketball and for other schemes, non-football. The economics are a little bit different. Just as you kind of move forward in that, how has that been for you on a day-to-day basis of just the money's there for maybe some of the programs? Sometimes it's a little bit harder for others.
And that's one of those hard balances, right? Yeah. We need to be nationally prominent in our soccers and in our basketballs. Okay, we need to play in that space. Mm-hmm. And then we've got an unbelievable softball program that can compete for A10 championships, as our baseball team can, as our volleyball team can. And then we've got some sports that we've got to deliver great individual opportunities for our swimmers, for our runners, for tennis players. So it has not gotten easier from a financial perspective. We are highly focused, because if men's basketball can drive this thing, that will help everybody. When we went on that run you talked about for 3 years in a row, we had a massive increase in support and in positioning for everybody. Men's basketball can help do that for everybody. Mm-hmm. And so we're pushing real hard to have that help drive the success across the board. But the two soccer teams, as you all know, it's a great soccer town. The soccer community has been as loyal and supportive as any community we have. And so that helps you a lot. What Kevin Kalish and Katie Shields can do makes a huge difference. Rebecca winning the A10 championship, winning the WNIT. We got to reload and help her in the portal this spring, which we're working on. we have a shot. And so that's where we've got to use those programs to drive revenue and to drive excitement for the rest.
We got a few more things. Number one, as you're talking about all of this, it strikes me how different your job is. And I could ask you what's different about the job, but I think a shorter answer would be, what's the same about your job from the day you took it to where we are on February 20th, 2026?
Randy, that's a really good question. At the end of the day, we still have 18 to 22-year-old kids. At the end of the day, if we focus on a young person coming to SLU to get a great education, to compete for championships and build community every day, we're going to be okay. If we lose our mind and go into spaces unknown, which a lot of my colleagues are, and it's not going well, then it's going to be hard. Everybody knows that somebody that comes through our program will learn the discipline and the values it takes to be successful. Those are the same values it takes to win tonight at 6 o'clock. And so what continues to stay the same, and I believe it's at the highest levels, whether it's Indiana football or whatever, what do they have unbelievably well? A clear stealth vision for what it takes to be successful. Those things haven't changed. It's all of the chaos around that changes, that influences. And so what hasn't changed is what it takes to win. What it takes to win in competitive sports, that hasn't changed. And if we continue to focus on it and have coaches that can do it, I like our chances.
Another group that you get some exposure to that we don't talk about enough, I think, is the coaching staff that Josh built. Because when you talk about Zach Bovair, Anton Smith, obviously everyone knows Coach Tate. Coach Putz was on that top 100 list as well. This is a really special group of assistants he's also built all along that belt. Phil Gaetano, I know I'm missing guys, and I don't want to not name anybody, but it's a really special group he's built across that entire bench.
And you missed the MVP, Rob Gardner.
Of course, Rob Gardner.
Okay.
Man,
Rob Gardner, the MVP, without a doubt.
Yep.
And I think it's one of, Josh is a gifted guy, but what's fascinating about him is he has this puzzle and he knows exactly what he wants it to look like. And he knows which pieces he needs in. All those guys you just mentioned have different skills. He's got Fang, who's a brilliant analytics video guy, right?
Yep.
Young guy, unbelievable, off the charts, 36 ACT brilliance. And so what he's done is he's put those pieces together that he knows if they can bring that data to him in a million different forms of data, that he could put it together and make it work. And so I think it's been really fascinating to watch how he uses each person's strength to go into the formula to go win. And whether it's a defensive guy, an offensive guy, a guy that knows everybody in town, a guy that knows Brett. I've never seen anybody recruit at the level by which Brett Putz can recruit. He is a machine. I mean, it is fast. I had lunch with him yesterday. He is on it. And so there's a reason why we did really good in the portal last year. There's a reason why we're going to do really good in the portal this year. And we've got a staff that is focused on how we continue to get better every day. And it takes everybody. And that's another piece of Josh and I. How do we ensure that we have stability and we keep a staff together? That's how you win. That's how you have players that continue and you have a staff that continues. That's how you put it together and have success.
So Chris May for a long time has been one of my favorite people on the St. Louis sports scene. And Matthew, as you know, and Chris, I've been a season ticket holder for a long time, but I'll tell him back in the day, once or twice a year, I get a text from Chris and he'd say, "Hey, you want to sit on the floor tonight?" He said, "I know you got tickets." Last couple of months.
I gotta go. I'm getting killed. I'm getting beat up, man. I'm getting hammered.
No.
Those seats have not been as easily available as they once were. Man. I hear you.
No.
I'll work on that.
No. Next time Gibson Jimerson texts you, just be like, "Sorry, Gibson.
I got Randy.
Sorry, I
You're
got
out.
Randy."
Well,
what are you supposed to do?
Well, tonight I thought about it, Randy, and then Nelly calls.
Oh
So there you go.
It was Randy or Nelly. I made a mistake. I decided Nelly might be better, so I did that deal. Kevin Kalish, we thought we had Tim Ream showing up. Tim Ream or Randy Karraker. I made the mistake. Okay, I apologize. We didn't have that many of those people at that time, so that's my fault. My bad. I apologize.
Yeah, I love it.
Next time I'll work on it.
No, I'm very happy and very satisfied. I love watching your team play, and not just your team, but and as you know, a couple graduates of my family from St. Louis U. But the program is just fantastic, and we focus because it is. We mentioned right off the top, the men's basketball team is the front porch of the university, but all of the sports are, if they're not doing really well. They're on an upward trajectory, it seems like.
Well, I appreciate it. And we work hard at it. It's not easy. It's a competitive deal. And at the end of the day, I think we've got some really, really great people coaching. And if we really can attract and bring great head coaches together that are gifted, that we got a shot. And I think I like our group. Probably the best part about the dinner I'll share with you. So we're up in Chicago. We got all these donors, and Kevin Kalish does his thing, and he speaks like a academic All-American that he is. These words, I mean, I'm like, dang, Kevin, how'd you come up with that? I mean, he does a great job. Then Katie Shields goes. I'm like, oh man. So Katie smokes it, right? Josh gets up there and goes, okay, this isn't right at all. He goes, we all knew Katie was smart. Katie's smarter than all of us. He goes, who knew Kevin was that smart? He goes, Kevin, an academic All-American? Josh is like, I have no shot. The whole place was roaring, but we got a good group that really engages each other, and they have a good time. But fortunately, we can put them in position to have success. All highly competitive coaches want to succeed, and we're doing everything we can to put them in position to do so.
Congratulations. And like you've said several times, 601 tonight. That's the key. 601 tonight against VCU.
And as Corey Tate told me, it's actually 8 o'clock is the most important. I said, I hear you, Corey, but if we don't get out of the blocks at 601, we're in trouble by 801.
Exactly.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks
guys.
for stopping
We'll
by.
see you at the arena.
Chris,
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
That is the outstanding athletic director at St. Louis University, the great Chris May, joining us here on the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central.
We're going to get the awesome one, Earl Austin Jr. on. Just want to remind everyone we're at the Key STL, 3225 Olive Street, right across from the street from the parking garage at Chaifetz Arena, as both Chris and Earl have shown. Very quick trip over from Chaifetz Arena. So you want to get down here, beat the traffic, get parked early, and get some food before you get into Chaifetz Arena. The Key STL is the perfect place to do it. We got Earl Austin joining us now. Also, college basketball podcaster from Blue Blooded Pod, Ryan Hammer, will be joining us later on in the show. And now, of course, I mean, the real star of the show is now sitting down with us. There he is, Earl Austin Jr.
So, Earl and I went to college together.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Part of the Lindenwood Dynasty.
Guys, no way.
Yeah, that's the same. We're working at KCLC at the same time.
There you go. Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah, the awesome one. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited for tonight.
You've had an exciting season. This is like a dream come true for you, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, what the team is just kind of, galvanized the city, the campus, and like I said, we've had good teams, and it doesn't happen. That all the notoriety and the prestige and all that doesn't happen to programs like us in the mid-major. It's hard, unless you're like Gonzaga.
Right.
Usually it's the P4. So to be able to the kids to play themselves into a position where you're playing for championships and getting all this kind of an all right for your school, your city, and it's pretty cool to see.
And we've talked for 40 years, 30 years, since Gonzaga became good, about St. Louis U being the Gonzaga of the Midwest or being like Xavier. What do you think now as you watch the program, not just this year's team, but the program with Josh Schertz and Chris May, who just left? Is that a realistic possibility?
It really is. It's not easy, but you look at not only so much Gonzaga because they've only had two coaches through that whole deal, but you look at Xavier, you look at who we're playing tonight, VCU. They've been able to maintain a standard of excellence with about 6-7 different coaches, which is amazing how they're able to do it. Different coaches, different styles of play, but they're always there playing for a kind of championship. But I think we got, you've seen in that position. We've had great success. We just haven't been able to keep it going. It's just been dips in between. But we've seen Travis got us to a tournament. Spoon got us to 3 tournaments. Rick / Jim got us to 3 tournaments. So it's there. So I think to be able to sustain it, obviously it takes a level of I think Josh has a lot of the elements, and whoever, you got to be able to identify talent, and you got to be able to evaluate. You got to be able to develop talent, and you got to develop that kind of winning culture. And that's what he's been able to do. And like I said, it takes players, and they've got a lot of good ones. So Randy Bennett at St. Mary's has done it too as well.
Yeah.
And our old assistant coach. So it's definitely very possible.
Something that Chris was talking about, we've seen the posts, the dinners that have kind of become a big topic because the team is so close. You get to travel with them, you get to see them in the warm-ups and things like that. Is that something that from the get-go kind of jumped out to you, or is that something you've seen kind of develop even in the season?
It's continued to develop, but you saw it during you go to practice in June and watch them work out and everything. You could see it's a different element in terms of just how this team's going to play for each other, and it's a big difference playing with each other and playing for each other because we're a good team, but we're not like a bunch of 5-star guys. We got guys that have been in the program a couple years, but now we're bringing in guys from different programs, and I think they're all kind of pushing the same way. They're looking to prove themselves, and I think that's it. I think it's more important, not so much as when you're winning, but when you go through the tough times, like responding to a loss at Stanford. We did pretty well responding to that Rhode Island loss, or responding to a big runs that teams are throwing at us. That's when you see the closeness of the team. Do you stay together or do you drift apart? That's the true test.
I think I did not properly rate a moment. It was a practice before the season started when Deion Brown was sitting out because he had the little knee thing or whatever it was. So he was sitting down and he has his leg up on the sideline, and the entire time he is just talking ass to every single player during the practice. And at that moment, it probably should have hit me, and him and Sharma were going like quick fire. It probably should have hit me in that moment. Like, this is a team that's only been together for 4 or 5 months. They're all new except for 3 guys, and 2 of the new guys already seem like they're best friends. Like, it should have hit me in that moment.
It really is.
This team was going to be special.
They are. And you mentioned Deion. Deion is just kind of the physical heart of our team, kind of like what Jordan Goodwin was during his career, kind of like what Javon Bess was for his career, because he's basically an undersized 6'3" power forward.
What is it with being an energy guy and being an undersized guard?
He's like Jason, like Josh Hart of the Knicks.
Yes,
and he was the one guy that really brought it in Kingston. He was close back to New England. He had 20 points, 8 out of 10, but he just plays bigger than his actual size.
You're just making me think of Donnie Dobbs here.
That's exactly, yeah. Donnie was that 6'3" center, basically, but just a physical player. But we keep guys in the program, but they play much bigger. They're kind of leaders with how they play. And I think that's been important. I remember there were games where Deion was getting 12, 15 rebounds in a game that's 6'3".
What's different about Robbie Avila? Chris just said it all starts with him. What is it about him?
I think Robbie, he's going through this Atlantic 10 conference last year. I think it educated him more on the league. We got a lot of bigger, more physical, more athletic big men. Robbie is just the fulcrum of the team. Teams, even though he may score 7, 8 points, our assistant coach said, we still prepare for Robbie because he does so much, because they know he can score in the paint. He can shoot the 3-pointers, but his passing ability and his vision and kind of directing things. I think defensively, he's made a tremendous jump as far as his ability to just wall off opposing big men. And he's also like a general. I've seen him pointing guys, talking, communicating, pushing guys through screens, and and then on the rebounds, he grabbed the rebound. If not, he'll tip it to a teammate. So just things like that is what he does. He's just kind of that leader on the team.
And the veteran guy that came with shirts and could be the favorite, but he doesn't. If he's not going to complain about not getting his minutes, then nobody can complain about not getting their minutes, right?
Yeah. There are games when he'll have 4 and 6 points. He doesn't care because he just kind of plays. He kind of feels the game. Like the GW game, he felt that, hey, we were struggling. Their big man was getting off, Castro. So Rob, this is the game. Okay, it's time for me to go. Brady was out, so we were down a man. He played 31 minutes, had 25 points or whatever, and the game winner. So there are games like that when especially if it gets to a half court, where it's time to be more assertive, and he kind of feels out situations like that. So just a unique type of player that it's been fun to watch.
He had 2 of those plays against Chicago. Where in one of them, the rebound was going out of bounds, and he saved it and just tapped it to Mari, and Mari immediately zoomed up and got a quick 2 points. There's another one, and I'm blanking on exactly what it was, but Robbie had 2 incredible, just like very Jokic-like. Where he just taps the ball in the right way. He doesn't control it. He's so good at that. He's so special, and I think people we'll look at his numbers and think that maybe he's lost something. But when you break out and you look at the analytics, you go like per 40 minutes or per 100 possessions, the rate stats, and he's actually putting up more assists per minute per time he touches the ball than really he has since his best moments at Indiana State.
And it's more fun this year for him because last year we weren't as offensively, we didn't have as much balance. We were basically Robbie, Isaiah, and Gibson. So teams would load up on Robbie. They put a forward or a guard on him, and then the big man would just sit in the paint and jam him. And if Robbie would come down the lane, he would be right there. So this year, you got to do it at your own risk. If Robbie decides to come down the lane on the back down, he's waiting for somebody to double because he knows there's Ish, Trey, Bray, whoever. And, you got guys cutting and everything. And so the game is easier for him because he makes it easier for other people.
I think it's pretty clear this year that SLU is the best mid-major. But when they get into the NCAA tournament, what part of SLU's game, where do they have to play an A game to beat a Power 4, Power 5?
Well, we got to have an A game to beat VCU 9 if we want to get the tournament.
Yeah.
So we got to, for me, and I've talked about this from day one, we do a lot of cool things offensively. Everybody loves it. We shoot the ball, we move it, and those things. But that makes us a good team. But to be an elite team, to win the Atlantic 10, which is what we aspire to do, we have to do the foundational things. I'm still kind of old school about that. You got to be able to rebound the basketball. You got to play good, solid, connected defense. And you can't turn the basketball over. These are the foundational things that will help you win even when shots aren't falling. You do these three things. These are things that I think we've dipped a little bit in, and teams have been able to kind of get off on them, get open shots, get that offensive rebound. So these are things for us to go from a really good team, which we've shown, to the elite team, which we've shown. When we've been the elite team, we make the extra effort to get to the offensive rebound, to get to that loose ball, to be connected on defense, switching, and just doing those things. Like I say, the shooting, the offense, those things take care of itself. It's pretty and it looks good and everything. But the foundational things of what takes you to that next level, and that's what we got to be consistent with if we're going to finish off what we want to do and fulfill our dreams to get to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Going back to Robbie Avila, one more thing I wanted to talk to you about because people hear he's better at he's improved his defense, and I think some people are surprised with that because he doesn't get the numbers. But really, just to your point, how good he goes, just he's down low, he just goes up straight. The big thing for me that people should watch out for tonight is he doesn't just have to sit in the paint anymore. He goes out and actually will pressure guards on screens. And I think that's one of the reasons why this Billikens team's defense surprises some people is they're not handicapped in any way. Whatever they want or need to do, other than maybe being a little height limited, they can do.
Yeah, Josh isn't shy about even letting Robbie blitz a ball screen.
I'm shocked by that. That's something that they never did last year.
Yeah, right. It was usually drop coverage, and you're at the mercy. But Robbie's been getting out. Well, I think he sees Paul do it. See, Paul does it as well as Hassan French used to, and I think Robbie, like you said, it's just the improvements. You see quicker guards, and it's all about trying to make people make fast decisions on their feet. And I think it's just having that knowledge, and just it really has been a big. That's his most improvement on that.
It's legitimately crazy.
It really is.
No one notices it. It doesn't jump off, but it's something that will actually matter, especially if they play one of these bigger power.
The thing is, like I said, when you're not playing 35 minutes, you're playing 24. You can expend that much more energy like that because you're not going to be tired in the second half or coming down the stretch. So you can get out there and get it moving a little bit more.
Earl and Rammer have been together how many years? 35
together.
Doing Billiken basketball, both in the Lindenwood Hall of Fame. You have been in the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame for a few years. How much fun was it a couple of weeks ago for you to welcome Rammer into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame?
It was more fun than when I went in myself to be able to bring one of my best friends in, and he said, "You want to interview?" I was like, "I don't know what to ask him." We just sit there and talk. Usually I feed off him. But I said, "I don't know what we're going to do here." So we just started talking like we normally do. And we had a lot of fun. He is such a you know him, another Lindenwood guy too. Not only is he a great announcer and not only basketball, but anything he does, but he's just a grade A human being as well. People love him. The kids love him. The players love him. After in the next game, it was so cool. The players, they bought him a Hall of Fame. It was a picture of their players, big old frame picture, and it was Dion that presented it to him on behalf of the team. I think Rammer was really touched by that. It's one thing. It's nice to be, bring him out to half court for the fans. That's cool, but for the kids themselves to bring that and present it to them before the game, I think that shows how he's connected with young people as well.
That's fantastic. We all love you too. We love the awesome one, Earl Austin. You're the best. So thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate it.
I got one more for you, Earl,
Okay,
before we go. You've gotten to see the two or three best teams that SLU's put out in the last 35 years.
Yes.
You talk about 94, talk about like 2013, 2014. Take those teams, you take this team. I'm not saying rank them, but when you watch them, do you have a similar? Is it a similar appreciation for scale? And does it remind you of those special years?
Yeah, well, 94, 95, obviously that was the spoon years where we lifted this thing, jumped off. It was something because that team was little. It was our center was Jeff Harris, as you mentioned, Donnie Dobbs, our power forward at 6'3", McClagg, Highmark, and H. We ran and shot the ball, and we were analytics before they even knew what it was, because we shot threes, ran teams in the ground, bigger teams, and we were scoring 80 and 90 games. Those teams were beautiful to watch. And then a couple years later, it wasn't a great team, but we had maybe the best individual player we had ever come through here in Larry, and that in itself was a show. We don't get a McDonald's All-American to play here, and that was a show. So, and then obviously the Rick / Jim years, the Sons of Majerus, as our Bernie Miklasz, our friend, would call them. It was just that was a treat to watch too, just the precision and the execution that those guys played with, and the toughness. And so these guys are writing their own chapter, which is good. Now we still got a few more to write, and hopefully if they continue to stay on that course, hopefully they can people will continue to talk about them in the same vein as what those guys were able to accomplish.
Yeah. By the way, I'm one of the people that believes that if Rick Majerus hadn't passed away when he did, if he had survived 2 more years, I think SLU would be in the Big East.
No question. Yeah. Like Dwayne Wade got Marquette in the Big East by himself, by taking Marquette to the Final Four and doing what they did. Yeah, because remember Rick, about his second or third year, I remember he goes, St. Louis U will be a top 10 team in the country. People just laugh. Are you crazy? And it really happened. It was like 2 or 3 years after he died. We were like 13 or 14 hours, and we saw ourselves in the top 10. But yeah, as Rick stayed healthy, Rick stayed on another 3 or 4 years, because you were talking about a program that probably makes a couple deep runs in the tournament, and you would have had probably one of the 2 or 3 biggest name coaches. Still Calhoun was still at UConn, and I forgot there were a few others, but you would have had one of the biggest name coaches in that conference. So yeah, there's no question it would have been in the Big East.
You think there's a possibility? Could those talks be revived?
It would be nice. Yeah, I really can't. I don't know. I don't know who's talking and everything, but obviously if that opportunity introduced itself, that would be cool.
We know it's going to be a very physical game with VCU. It always is a physical game. Big thing that jumped out to me is SLU was able to win that game by double digits away, only taking 21 threes. How do you see this one tonight? What are the big things you're watching for, especially after what happened in Rhode Island?
Well, last game, both teams were averaging about high 80s, early 90s, and hitting a lot of threes. So we expected an up and down game. It turned out to be a rock fight, and it showed me that SLU can win games different ways. I think because this is like a going for a conference, I think it'll be a tough defensive, physical type game, and we have to respond. I think the thing we didn't do against Rhode Island that we have to do now is finish around that basket. Outside of Dion, we did not do a good job around the basket. So we have to do that as well. If people are going to try to lock down on our 3-point shooters. And when they do that, I always get on Robbie too. I want to see Robbie get a little more assertive in terms of getting into the paint. I say it all day. It's okay, because Jokic loves to pass more than shoot, but it's okay to get 27. Because Jokic go get 50 and 60 and hate it, because he wants to pass all the time.
These jerks are taking away my lane.
He wants to be Santa Claus, but you got the ability, if people are playing your shooters, and not only do that, but it's not only scoring points, but drawing fouls, slowing down the other team when it's a half court. That's what I like to do that as much as well.
6 o'clock tonight on KMOX 104.1. If you're out on the road, tune into the awesome one, Earl Austin Jr. and Bob Ramsey. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure, guys, always.
Always good to see you.
You're the best, Earl. Thank you so much, sir. Somebody get this man a smash burger.
That is the great Earl Austin Jr. And what a great history this program has for a program that hasn't been a regular participant in the NCAA tournament, that has had their moments, but they're a mid-major.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about what we've heard over the last 40 minutes or so from Chris May and Earl and Rammer, and talking about Spoon and Rick Majerus and what Josh Hertz has going right now. There's a lot to love about St. Louis U, past, present, and I think future.
Yeah, and it's hard not to just think it's hard not to just think about the future and think about where's the extension coming, how much NIL are they going to have, and things like that. But I think if you are a St. Louis fan and you go back and if you didn't get to catch our interview with Chris May, you can rewind, watch it on the YouTube. We'll also put it out on Spotify as well. Not tonight because I got to go to cover the game, but it'll be out over the weekend. I think there's a lot of reasons to be positive and have some confidence that they're going to get this done.
Yeah, and tonight's a big game, coming off of the loss. And by the way, both losses are one possession games. Both losses this year, Stanford and Rhode Island the other night. But I think, as Earl said, some of the foundational things that have allowed St. Louis U to be this good have gotten away from them and had gotten away from them. I have to believe that tonight will be a really tightly contested game by SLU. I would think that fundamentally, foundationally, that they'll be ready to rock and roll against VCU.
And now we bring in our third guest of the day, Ryan Hammer. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much for Grant Sullivan reaching
Karraker,
out.
How you doing?
Appreciate you guys for having me. It's awesome.
Yeah, college basketball enthusiast we hear.
Yeah, very, very much so. Many words people use to describe me, mostly positive, sometimes never know.
Well, I'm glad you're wearing the SLU pullover here.
I had to get right. I heard it blew out. People say it to me all the time, like, I know the VCU guys well also, and that happens all the time on the road, but they're like, why aren't you neutral like a lot of media guys? I'm like, I'm not really traditional media, and also I want to wear the gear. I want to get some gear, so here we go.
there you go.
When you watch this SLU team, when did you lock in? When did you realize this could be something special, something that maybe you would want to come see in person?
Yeah, 2 years ago, Indiana State, honestly. Like the Josh Shirt system opened my eyes to everything that they've been doing, and obviously they have a couple of guys like Robbie Avila and a couple of dudes on the team that I've kind of been around the system, some of the same coaches also. But this year, it was last year, really. It really wasn't this year. Coming into the year, you knew it was 5 A-10 teams at the top, and any of them could compete, and any of them could win the A-10 title, and multiple of them could get to the NCAA tournament. Still the case, obviously, with how good you guys are and how good SLU is this year. So last year, just knowing that it might take the year to just get the right guys you need for the following year. Sometimes that happens all the time with new coaches and transfers. So it really was last year. This year, this is the expectation, right? This is what they wanted.
But like you said, at the beginning of the year, maybe 5 A-10 teams could have done it. You watch a lot of A-10 basketball. What sets the 25-26 Billikens apart from the teams that they've been competing against?
Yeah, I mean, the level of players, obviously the system is great. The way they defend, the way they play offense, the analytical focus on things is fantastic. Second to none in the league and maybe not even in the country, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But the talent of the players are talented to a level where they're high major talent. Everybody on the team is high major talent, where you have 3 shooters. 2 of them, Trey and Brady, came from high major schools. Obviously, Ishan Sharma, high major player, and he came from a high major school also. But you watch these guys play, and you're like, they could play on basically any single team in the country right now. And obviously, Robbie could have had whatever offer he wanted around the country. He wanted to stay with Josh, which is great. So the play, not only the system great, but the players are legitimate high major quality players, which you don't see on mid majors. Usually they get pulled from everybody, and you would have assumed that would have happened from the Indiana State team, et cetera. But it's great to have this core together.
That's the big thing, is I think a lot of people who maybe haven't watched a lot of Billikens or maybe only watch Power 5, they see the Billikens, they see the schedule and say, this team can't hang with the other teams ranked around them. But for me, obviously you got to tip your cap for like top 6-7 teams in the nation. But when we start talking about, other teams around that 14-15 range, I know the Billikens aren't the biggest team in the world, but not a lot of teams have this many shooters. Not a lot of teams have this many shooters who can shoot off motion. Yeah. Nobody else has Robbie Avila. It just seems like there are a lot of things that while they have the mid-major build, there's reasons why this team can compete with a lot of the Power 5s that are in that top 15 ranking.
Absolutely. They can. I was with them yesterday, and Josh and I were talking about literally what teams they would want to play in the tournament. I won't share the full list of publicly who they're looking at and stuff, but because they're just taking it game by game, and they're just happy to get in the tournament, get a 7 seed hopefully or better, and hopefully play in St. Louis down the road, right? That'd be great. But it's matchup dependent in March, right? That's for everybody, and that's always the case for mid majors because to be such a successful mid-major like they are, you have to build yourself very uniquely and differently than everybody else. So sure, they're not big, they're not as athletic as the Arizona, Michigan, Florida, etc. That's going to be a nightmare matchup for everybody in the country. Yeah, it wouldn't be great for St. Louis specifically because they have that potential to go on the Sweet 16, the Elite 8 run. But there are teams at the top that they could definitely compete with, without a doubt.
I love the fact that the NCAA tournament committee, as they say, everything is random. They don't plant stories or anything like that. I would love it if they would randomly place St. Louis University in St. Louis.
It might work out that way. I saw one of the brackets yesterday that had we were just talking about before, St. Louis versus Missouri as the 7-10 down the road, and then you get to play Iowa State, who would be local relatively also. But I mean, that's a dream setup. Missouri fans say that they want that. SLU fans say that they want that. So I say we make it happen.
That's, as a Missouri grad who covers SLU, that's not a matchup I'm worried about. If I'm a Billikens fan, as a Mizzou graduate, terrified about that matchup for the Tigers. The last thing I would ever want to see. This Billikens team is obviously special, but we watch it with a little tunnel vision. When you tune into these Billikens games, what's the first thing that jumps out to you? Because if I had to answer people, it would be it'd be they're going to throw an alley-oop at least once every game. Amari McCautry's one of the most underrated sophomores in the country, and then they're just going to hit you with all the shooting. What jumps out to you about what makes this Billiken team special when you tune in?
It's the motions and actions. I watched their sets. It's like I watched them practice yesterday, and I had Robbie take me through it. Also, we were on camera doing our own thing. I said, nice. I want you to take me through, like, make me Trey Green, like, tell me what to do, tell me where to go, and their actions and screening, just with him on top of the key with the ball, and him and Ish and whoever's going to be in the game, and Brady, just going all over the place on top of the key. And then you have guys like Paul down low on a block, or you have another shooter somewhere else in the wing, and Dion cutting somewhere else, who knows. But the activity is incredible, and it creates, like, they have an analytical mindset, obviously, and intention. Josh wants to get as far as as close as you can to the rack, or he wants you to take threes, and that is great to want to do that, but you have to have the schematics in place to be able to do that. So they do a really good job of that, and watching their sets is beautiful.
When Schertz was hired here, Jay Billis said he's one of the 2 or 3 brightest offensive minds in America. What makes him different? Why is he better than other guys? Yeah,
I think he's willing to be different, and he's like, Nate Oates is a guy that I know he takes after a little bit, and he likes a lot, and with selectiveness at least. But those kind of guys and him, they are just willing to do everything exactly how they want to do it, even if they know that 99% of the people are not willing to do it like that. And I think that's why it's succeeding. He's not a guy who obviously played at a high level or any means. He's like, that's why I love him so much. He's similar to me, where I played soccer for most of my life because I was small going to high school. And he's the guy, when you make a franchise in 2K or Madden, you choose the GM or owner that's like the nerd and fan, and then becomes the sicko. And he really is that, and he's that to a T. And it shows that kind of guy is an absolute sicko for the game in every way possible.
We broke it down with Earl. How do you see the matchup tonight against VCU?
It's going to be good. It was a good game last time. I know SLU, the team, was practicing breaking the press yesterday, I saw. So that'll be on top of a million things. They go like 2.5 hours practice. It's ridiculous. But and
it's
I
fun,
love
though, it's all scrimmage. It's fun. It's a lot of scrimmaging. So it's a fun practice to watch.
It was very fun. They basically told me I could have hopped into practice at one point. I was like, I'm wearing it's okay. But no, it's gonna be good. VCU is definitely stronger and athletic and bigger than most A10 teams and most teams that SLU have played this year. They played them relatively well in Richmond. They're in their first game. I think it really was like a 5 or 6 point game. They kind of blew it out at the end with some free throws and whatever. But no, it's going to be great. I think VCU is going to try to bring a lot of ball pressure, try to deny a lot of those actions, and get through Robbie over top, so that they don't have to go under him at all on these DHOs and passes, because Trey and Ish will shoot from the parking lot, and that's not what they want. And I think it's going to be interesting on the other side of the ball too, where can VCU kind of exploit the size inside, and can they own the paint when they're on offense too? So.
Okay, so you were a soccer player. Were you a basketball nerd when you were a soccer player, though?
Oh, yeah, and I played basketball for a while, and I still do. People are surprised that I can still play and shoot a little bit, but I still get to it a little bit. But I've always been a basketball nerd, yeah.
You mentioned the Tigers. We'll cover a little bit of them, because obviously local team as well. Looked a little rough early in the season. They've pulled off a couple big wins. Thankfully, that shot didn't fall against Vanderbilt. Mark Mitchell continues to grow. Just what do you think about the Tigers? Do you think they have enough to maybe get a win against Arkansas and lock themselves into the tournament?
Yeah, they were a team that I loved coming into the year. They are such like a classic SEC team. They're so volatile. They're so all over the place. That game was actually hilarious. When they inbounded that ball and it went right to Tyler Tanner's hands, I was like, "There's no way this is happening right now." They didn't even celebrate like they won because how you can't. Like,
nope, fans didn't either.
They were up by what 20 or something like that, with like 7
21.
minutes left, and I'm like, "What is happening right now?" I turned the game off, wasn't watching, and then 2 minutes left, I blink my eyes, and I'm like, "Oh, this is not good." But they're interesting. They're volatile. They're one of those teams that I pointed to like a Wisconsin almost, where they've beaten good teams, but they've also lost really bad games. So they might get smoked in the round of 64, kind of like they did last year, but they could also beat 2 or 3 good teams if the matchups are right. The matchups have to be perfect for a team like them. I think that it's very slim pickings and slim chances if they're going to be making a run this year. But right now, they're just focused on getting into the tournament.
And that's the thing. So you got 2 left against Arkansas tomorrow on the road and then at home, and then Mississippi State and Oklahoma. I don't think they can afford to lose a game unless they're going to go on a run in the SEC tournament. I don't think they can afford to lose another regular season game.
They might be. I think as of now, they're probably just on the right side of the bubble. But really, you're playing a dangerous game at that point. And you have Arkansas twice. 2 games you obviously have to win in between the Arkansas games. Yeah. I think you got to win one of those Arkansas games to feel comfortable going into the SEC tournament. And then all you have to do is not lose a game that you're supposed to win at that point. So probably win 1 game in the SEC tournament, and they should be fine.
Yeah.
The Fighting Illini came out as the number 2 seed in the mock committee yesterday. Maybe the best starting 5 in the nation. Vogler's obviously been incredible. You got Stojakovic, and then all the other Euros as well. Fighting Illini, obviously, they got the talent to make a run this year, but can they stop? Maybe losing in the early rounds when it continues to happen.
It feels like as long as they don't go and run into UConn, they'll be fine.
There you go.
That's just usually what it is. That's the truth. That's the honesty.
And Loyola Chicago's not going to be there either.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, hey, never know. Something crazy happened.
Tournament run.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Wild.
Talk to the 5 teams at the top at the beginning of the season. They were one of them, so it is kind of funny to see where they're at now and whatever. But no, Illinois is great. I think they're a national title contending team. I have no doubt that they will survive the first weekend just fine. The size, creativity, craftiness, balance offensively. They've been a lot better defensively, especially in the interior in the last month or so of the year, where before that they were allowing wildly close shots to the rim. They were kind of flimsy, and that was their issue last year too. When they played Maryland with Derek Queen and guys like that, when Tomislav was in and out of health, they struggled a lot, even when he was healthy and playing. Now they have more guys. They've been playing a lot better, a lot tougher defensively, which I think is huge for them. They can win the national championship. I still think their defense will be their downfall, but it'll be their downfall in the Elite 8 or the Final 4 or something like that. So it's looking up right now for them.
Ryan, how can people access your content?
All over social media, Ryan Hammer and Blue Blooded for podcast platforms. So I'm sure people will figure it out and search my name and find it.
Yep, Ryan Hammer. There you go.
And you said you're doing some video stuff with the Billikens. Is that on a website, YouTube? Where can we find that stuff?
Most of them will be on social. The big one will be on YouTube. I posted one with Robbie this morning. That's all over. We go on social. If you follow the SLU basketball team account, you'll see it.
Fantastic.
And Robbie. But after that, we YouTube. It'll hopefully. I don't want to hold myself to it. Maybe Sunday or Monday, I'll probably have it up.
There you go. Awesome.
Good. Thanks for stopping by.
Sweet.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thanks so much, Ryan. I appreciate that.
Have a good one.
Ryan Hammer, follow him on socials and to check out his great basketball content. A basketball enthusiast who happens to do a lot of podcasting and social media as well.
I'm going to check out those videos.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's cool.
I didn't realize we could do that stuff. I don't ask him now. Hey, BK, where's?
Yeah,
gotta get some video going with Robbie.
I don't think that Bobby Knight generally did that with his teams. Probably didn't have a media member in there basically practicing with the team.
No, I got to see if I can. I didn't know that was an option.
I didn't either.
No one ever told me that was an option.
No.
I just got to start asking for more things.
That's the thing. That's the key. Speaking of the key, we're at the Key STL. And we're on Olive, right across the street from the Compton Garage, right near Chaifetz Arena. Chaifetz Arena is a 5-minute walk away. 6 o'clock start tonight for St. Louis University and VCU. And stop by here, have some food and drink either before or after the game.
Traffic is not bad yet. It's nobody's really lining up yet for the garage, but it'll start soon. People are lining up to eat some of this fantastic food at the Key STL. Line's getting a little bit long, so get in here. I know some people were messaging me, hey, man, it's a Friday. What I'm going to do? Well, they got some shrimp tacos here.
Oh.
So if you can't do the meat, you got the shrimp tacos. You got the fries with all the dipping sauces. Absolutely incredible food and fare here. Burgers are obviously the landmark.
But at this time of year, fish tacos on a Friday.
Got to jump into some fish tacos on a Friday as well. Key Burger Bar and Boogie. Check it out. It will be hopping for postgame. So if you can't make it down here for pregame, head here either during the game to watch it, or you can come over here for pregame. We'll have the burger bar going then late. You can refuel. Then you can also hit the Boogie side because we'll have some music going tonight as well. You can also come here every Wednesday. They do a little trivia with our good friend Alvin Reed. I know, Randy, you love some good trivia every once in a while. So
once in a while.
But he's not allowed to come to the Keys trivia because that would just be cruel, we thought. And so no trivia for Randy, but you guys can come see some trivia here at the Key every Wednesday night. And they're also going to have Wise Mary is going to be in tonight. That is the band that's going to be over on the Boogie side. Tickets $10 at the door, 9 p.m. show. Again, 3225 Olive Street. Get down here to the Key Burger Bar and Boogie, grab some food, watch the game, and then catch out Wise Mary tonight, 9 p.m.
And as Chris May mentioned, the next couple of games are sold out. I'm sure that you'll still be able to find tickets on the secondary market. There are still a few tickets available for one game, and we're down the stretch here now. And as Chris May mentioned, by the way, a huge amount of tickets have been sold for the tournament in Pittsburgh, the A10 tournament that SLU will be participating in. But you've got VCU tonight sold out, and then still tickets available for the game against Duquesne.
He said a couple, though. He said only a couple.
Yeah, a couple. And then you've also got Loyola here on senior night on March 4th. So those are the games remaining, and you want to take advantage of it because in addition to being a fun team, and you've been there for virtually every game this year, Matthew, you know the building is just a great vibe. It's a great place to be.
Just think about it this way. When the Billikens make a run this year to the Final Four, do you really want to don't you want to be able to tell your kids, I got to see that team play live instead of lying about it? You could lie about it. We all do. But you could tell the truth and get into the Chaifetz Arena to watch this incredible team this year. Yeah,
so check it out, and we'll be talking about this game, and we'll be talking about this team down the stretch here on STL Sports Central. By the way, we have a post game tonight, do we not?
Yes, of course.
Somebody's yelling.
That was impressive. That's a kitchen voice if I've ever heard one.
Oh,
yes, we will be live right here on STL Sports Central for our postgame. We're always live. Any St. Louis event here on STL Sports Central, we're doing a postgame after Cardinals games, Blues games when we come back, obviously, from the Olympics. And, of course, Saturday night we'll have our first St. Louis City SC postgame show as well. If there's an event going on in St. Louis, we're doing a postgame show after it. We'll be live from the baseline tonight with Bob Ramsey. So we already talked to Earl Austin. We'll get a little Bob Ramsey talking to both of the legends on the broadcast here on STL Sports Central. Earl pregame, Ramsey for the postgame, all here on STL Sports Central. Best place to get your Billikens coverage here in St. Louis.
And we should note that tomorrow you've got Cardinals starting at noon in Florida. You've got Illinois, you've got Mizzou, and as Matthew mentioned, a 1:30 game for St. Louis City SC against Charlotte. So 4 big post-game shows tomorrow here on STL Sports Central.
All right, Randy, that line's getting long. I got to get food.
Okay, good. Wilson got us on the air here. Thanks to Joe Roderick for his great work. Hayden C.
Thanks to Grant Salzman as well.
Grant set up our guest, Ryan Hammer, so that was fun. Thanks to Chris May for stopping by. Earl Austin Jr. and Ryan Hammer had a great time here on the Randy Karraker Show. Hope you did too. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Also, roll Bills.